this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
No one knows what the future holds, but you deserve a weather app that can help. WeatherBug is easy to use and provides forecasts for your every need, from storm warnings to pollen levels, right at your fingertips. Get the fastest local alerts and comprehensive 10-day forecasts wherever you are. Its hyperlocal, real-time customizable alerts make sure the weather never takes you by surprise, so you can plan every day with confidence. Download the free WeatherBug app from the App Store today and start getting accurate weather forecasts 24/7.
This Ayatollah regime has been raping and pillaging the country for 47 years. We are trying to protect our interests, we as the United States. And the president is the first president in 47 years to actually have a backbone to do something about it. They've been attacking us. They've been attacking our interest. They've been attacking our assets. And they've been doing it without even being apologetic. They bragged about it. And we have just tried to appease them over the years. And President Trump said enough's enough.
You're listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson.
Good Tuesday morning. Nice to have you with us on the 47 Morning Update. Donald Trump says Operation Epic Fury is ahead of schedule, as dozens of senior Iranian leaders have been taken out. So what is happening now? We have it all for you. But before we get to that, I want to take a moment and ask you to help the people in Israel with my friends at the IFCJ working right now on the ground for all those in need. As Operation Epic Fury intensifies, the world braces for what comes next, and people of faith pray for freedom and for God's people to be protected. In the Holy Land, red alert sirens fill the air. Sirens that give you 15 seconds to reach the nearest bomb shelter. The situation is serious and the threat is real. In times like this, freedom and faith aren't just abstract ideas. They are what we depend on. And the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is on the ground, preparing large-scale distributions of life-saving food, first aid, and emergency essentials for security personnel, while helping ensure hospitals, emergency rooms, and shelters are stocked with critical medical supplies. This aid is focused on Israel's most vulnerable, the sick, the elderly, children, and families in great need. But the fellowship needs your most generous gift today to make this work all possible. Now is your time to stand with Israel's most vulnerable. To rush your gift, call 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-IFCJ, or give online at ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org. It's the 47 Morning Update, and it starts right now.
Story number 1.
Operation Epic Fury, Day 3. And it's the latest that you want to know about what is actually happening from Iran as well as the Middle East, and also what America is doing. The military operation against Iran has entered its third day, with strikes against targets inside Iran and interceptions of Iranian aircraft, Iranian missiles, and drones attempting to land blows across the Middle East. And the Eastern Mediterranean is very much ongoing at this moment. We know that the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected the notion that Israel dragged the United States into war with Iran, telling Sean Hannity on Fox News, "That's ridiculous." He also went on to say that Donald Trump is the strongest leader in the world. He does what he thinks is right for America, and he also does what he thinks is right for future generations. Earlier, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that the threat posed by Iran to the United States was, in fact, imminent, contradicting what many on the left had been saying for the last 24 hours. The White House, he also says, had intelligence that the Islamic regime had planned to attack American assets in the region in the event of an impending strike on its missile program by Israel. Marco Rubio also added that the timing of the strike was also influenced by desire to prevent the currently weakened Iran from building up its missile and drone programs to defend against strikes on its nuclear program that clearly they have been trying to use to say, as they put it, to kill America and to kill Israel. We also know that the official spokesman for Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Defense said that its forces have intercepted and destroyed 8 drones that have come in from Iran. It comes after Saudi Arabia revealed that 2 drones were successful in striking the U.S. embassy there. The attack resulted in a fire and minor material damage to the building, but reportedly did not cause any injuries to U.S. personnel. We also know that U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said there is no way that President Trump will enter the United States in a multi-year conflict in Iran. Speaking to Jesse Waters of Fox News, the vice president said, "We're not going to get into the problems that we've had with Iraq and Afghanistan."
After Iraq and Afghanistan, some people say, oh, here we go again. Is that something here you're thinking about?
Well, Jesse, if you think back to Afghanistan, 20 years of mission creep, 20 years of not having a clear objective, and 20 years of the United States trying to bring liberal democracy to Afghanistan. Iraq was a little bit shorter, but we were still in that country for nearly a decade with no clear mission, no clear definition. What's so different about this, Jesse, is that the president has clearly defined what he wants to accomplish. And there's just no way, I said this before the conflict started, I'll repeat it again, there's just no way that Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight and no clear objective. What is different about President Trump, and it's frankly different about both Republicans and Democrats of the past, is that he's not going to let his country go to war unless there's a clearly defined objective. He's defined that objective as Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and has to commit long term to never trying to rebuild their nuclear capability. It's pretty clear. It's pretty simple. And I think that means that we're not going to get into the problems that we've had with Iraq and Afghanistan.
Now, J.D. Vance was not the only one that was doing interviews. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu went on TV to debunk the claims that Israel dragged the U.S. into striking Iran. Sitting down with Sean Hannity, and here's what he said.
And I want to ask you this, there are people that say, well, the Prime Minister of Israel dragged Donald Trump into it. And as somebody that's been friends with him over 30 years, nobody drags Donald Trump into anything, number one, but I want to get your reaction to that.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Donald Trump is the strongest leader in the world. He does what he thinks is right for America. He does also what he thinks is right for future generations. And frankly, we're partners in that effort because I've devoted my life to securing the life of the one and only Jewish state. And believe me, it's been a struggle. I've known the pangs of war. I lost a brother in war and in battle. I myself fought terrorists and was wounded in liberating hostages from a hijacked plane. I held a fellow soldier in my arms when I was 18, and he died in my arms. I know the cost of war, but I know sometimes that war is necessary to protect us from the people who would destroy us. And that's what free societies have to understand. Freedom is precious, but it has to be protected. And we have to understand that we're fighting here. We're fighting here the bad guys. We're the good guys. These people massacred their own people. Imagine what they would do, these people who chant death to America, if they had the ballistic missiles and the nuclear warheads to deliver to every American city. Do you want to wait? Do you want to bet your future on whether they would do it or they would not do it? I mean, look, nobody stopped North Korea, so they now have ballistic missiles and nuclear warheads. But they don't say death to America. Iran is 50 North Koreas. Iran is committed to your destruction. And whether people understand it or not, the leader has to understand it. Donald Trump understands it. You don't have to drag him into anything. And nobody would do it anyway. He does what he thinks is right. And this is right.
Netanyahu wasn't done there. He also said one of the great things about working with President Donald Trump is that Trump has always understood the real threat that Iran has, not only to the U.S., but to the rest of the world.
Well, you know, when America, the indispensable ally for Israel and the greatest power in the world, and Israel, America's model ally, as the National Security Council just called it, when we work together, amazing things happen. We worked together and amazing things happened. But I have to tell you that it wouldn't happen without the leadership of President Trump. Because he just, you know, I met him in Mar-a-Lago. You may remember this because I think you live close by and I saw you at that time, right before his re-election. Okay? or before he was inaugurated the second time. And we met in Mar-a-Lago. And the first thing that Donald Trump said to me, he said, we have to prevent Iran from getting nukes. As simple as that. He said that because he saw that as a clear and present danger to the security and well-being of the United States. To have a regime like that, so fanatic, that it just defines itself by destroying America, exporting revolution, exporting terrorism, exporting the worst Islamist fanaticism that attacks Arabs, attacks Israelis, attacks Americans, attacks everyone in sight. They just fired now their ballistic sight around in the Middle East, including Cyprus and Europe. To have a regime like that plans to eradicate the United States, have the weapons of mass death, would have been the greatest threat that America would face in the coming decades. And so he said to me right off the bat, I didn't say to him, he said to me, we have to make sure they never get the nukes. And that's what he did. We tried first to take them out in Midnight Hammer and Rising Lion operation, and we took out their missile sites, but then they started again. Their missile and nuclear sites. They didn't learn the lesson. He tried to get negotiations. He negotiated with them. They didn't get it. They tried to string him along. So action had to be taken, and we took it.
It is very clear after hearing Netanyahu speak on Fox News Channel that the president and him are side by side as allies, making sure that Iran is no longer a threat, not only to Israel, but to Americans in the Middle East and also in this country. Which brings us to Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth having a press conference at the Pentagon. And after answering questions for quite some time, he wanted to make sure he gave his last 2 minutes of his statement to talk directly to the men and women that are protecting and serving. He also wanted to reassure the men and women in uniform that he is not going to get you into a never-ending war like Afghanistan or Iraq. And the Pentagon giving this update, but then speaking directly to our warriors. And it's important, I think, for every American to hear exactly what he said at the Pentagon.
Let me speak straight to you, the Joint Force, our warriors on the front lines. This is your moment. This is the generational turning point America has waited for since 1979. And since the rudderless wars of hubris, my generation, our generation, endured. Don't listen to the noise. Just stay focused. Our commander-in-chief is steady at the wheel. We face a determined enemy, but you are better. But we must prove it every single day. History doesn't care if we're tired, if we're scared, or if the fight feels big. It demands warriors who rise anyway. Peace through strength, the warrior ethos, lethality, unity of purpose, those are not slogans. They're the beating heart of what it means to wear the uniform, that uniform. You think clearly under fire, you act decisively in chaos, you uphold the Constitution, and you uphold our country without hesitation. We are not defenders anymore. We are warriors, trained to kill the enemy and break their will. History is watching. Be the force you swore an oath to be: focused, disciplined, lethal, and unbreakable. We will finish this on America First conditions of President Trump's choosing. Nobody else's, as it should be. And know this above all, President Trump and I have your back, always. Through fire, through criticism, through fake news, through everything. We unleash you because you are the best, most powerful, most lethal fighting force the world has ever seen. May Almighty God watch over you and his providential arms of protection extend over you. Godspeed, warriors, and keep going.
Godspeed, warriors, and keep going. A prayer there from the Secretary of War, talking directly to our warriors, telling them exactly what they should expect. I got to say, it's something I wish we'd seen from other people that were in charge of the Pentagon. One thing is for sure from this administration, they are being overly transparent about their goals, their wishes, and their desires when it comes to what's happening in Iran. And taking that 2 minutes and 4 seconds to pray and speak directly to our men and women in uniform is something new. And I hope it's a trend that everybody in this position in the future will do as well.
Thank you for listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. please make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And for more in-depth news, also subscribe to the Ben Ferguson Podcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
No one knows what the future holds, but you deserve a weather app that can help. WeatherBug is easy to use and provides forecasts for your every need, from storm warnings to pollen levels, right at your fingertips. Get the fastest local alerts and comprehensive 10-day forecasts wherever you are. Its hyper-local, real-time customizable alerts make sure the weather never takes you by surprise, so you can plan every day with confidence. Download the free WeatherBug app from the App Store today and start getting accurate weather forecasts 24/7.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.